So I've got a great question for
Okay.
you. I want your take on this.
Sure.
So you're talking about interesting people talking and
Yeah.
kind of this hive mind type scenario of,
Yeah.
two people jamming or multiple people jamming and coming together
Mm-hmm.
throughout space and time. There's been, some of the most important inventions are the print press, writing language, the shared language, all these different components. But today we are now at a precipice where I think it was last week or whatever it was, Google's Bard came out with it, which is AI. Obviously, everyone's heard of, or I don't want to say everyone, but many people have heard of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Fastest ever production, 0 to 10 million users, faster than anything and anyone ever.
Yeah.
We're clearly entering a different era, a different time and space.
Yep.
Are you worried in any way, shape, or form about AI? Are you concerned that somehow it might pull away from artistic expression?
I'm more
and
worried
even
about
the medium of it.
I'm worried about humans using AI in the wrong way. I mean, technology has this double-edged sword quality. You can use fire to cook your food or to burn the village. You can use the alphabet for rhapsodic poetry and encoding knowledge, or for hate speech propaganda. You can use social media to share meaningful ideas and empower people to have a voice, or it can be weaponized with fake news and so on and so forth. So, AI could be a step function in a new kind of capacity for human beings, of which the creative possibilities are currently what you might call the unknown, where we haven't even begun to imagine what will become possible. But it could go sour too, and people could engage with these tools in a way that has outcomes that are problematic, for sure. So I feel like there's very, very smart people trying to curtail that runaway effect. People like Tristan Harris, who I'm such a fan of. I just saw him speak at a conference, and
He's the guy behind the Social Network, the
Social Dilemma.
The Social Dilemma. Sorry, yes.
We have friends in common, but I feel like the grown-ups, he represents to me like an example of like, okay, the grown-ups are in the room and they're going to figure this out and they understand where this could go hairy.
Yeah.
And then I see myself more as just like one of the artists, who's just like, the artist's role is to figure out how to use this tool or technology to make more beautiful art. But thankfully, there's the grown-ups and there's the artists, and we're all playing around with this. What I'm not as interested in is the ones that are just fatalistic, where it's like they just think everything's going to hell and that's it. Let's just go into despair. It seems to me like unproductive.
Yeah, like part of me feels like it's a natural evolution, number one, of the internet, but also of humanity.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, are we more likely to become transhumanistic, and have we not already? I mean, are we not using technology, phones? Even e-bikes are part of a form of, in the weirdest way, transhumanism.
We are totally
transhumanism. Yeah,
I mean,
we're already there.
People who put on reading glasses are technological cyborgs.
Exactly.
They are a hybrid of biological and non-biological props and scaffoldings.
Yeah.
This podcast, and I kept using this very like cheesy analogy, but we're electrifying conversation right now. Like our words, our ideas, our little naked monkey noises, vibrations from our throat are being like electrified and digitized and amplified and distributed across the planet. Like, we are technology. I'm compelled by Kevin Kelly's notion of technology, the aggregate of all of our technology being kind of organismic. He calls it the technium, and he says the technium is the seventh kingdom of life, and subject to the same evolutionary forces as biological evolution. And in the end, the whole distinction between the born and the made is a human distinction that doesn't really apply. From the perspective of like the aliens, everything was born of the biosphere of the earth. Computers were born of biological processes and biological beings. So the computers and trees, they're both nature, in my opinion. So even the idea of transhumanism is more like a cultural way of like trying to offer like a context for us being this hybrid of what you might call the biological and the non-biological. But the non-biological that was made by the biological is still, in some sense, an extension of the biological. Because we made all this stuff. Yeah, exactly.
The natural progression of our reality.
That's right.
It's almost like a form of Darwinism, but now playing out in
so.
a technological way.
And doesn't take as long for interesting mutations to be adopted, for things to be useful, because there's a sense of what, call it consciousness, call it awareness. So it's more self-directed. It doesn't, the evolutionary process isn't just like a blind trial and error over billions of years anymore. It's happening in shorter and shorter timescales through self-directed action of conscious beings. And so it's going like that, like it's a logarithmic,
Hockey stick.
exponential.
Yeah. No doubt.